Hey all my book lovers! Today we are going to be discussing self-publishing. Should you be doing it? Is it the evil so many say it is? Stay tuned and find out.
Do it by the book, no, I do my own thing. That's why every single hook got 'em singing like me. And I ain't in any rush, cause I'm finally getting paid. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made.
Hey everyone, my name is Bianca Sommerland, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I've seen come up a lot lately. Self-publishing, and what a mistake it is. Why you shouldn't be doing it. Please don't do it. It's really, really bad. Okay, now, let's get real. Self-publishing can give you more creative control, and all kinds of other points that I am going to be mentioning in this video. Should you be self-publishing? I don't know. What do you think? 5 reasons I believe that you should definitely self-publish. 1, creative control. When you go with a publisher, most people don't really discuss this because, well, they're with a publisher and they kind of have to keep their mouth shut. Publishers will ask you to change things. They will expect the style of your story to fit with whatever vision they have for it, not your vision. Once you sell your manuscript to a publisher, you are now letting them decide what's marketable, what your story should look like, who they think will read it. There are all kinds of levels of marketing that go into it. What I find interesting with that is those books that are all hyped and look who just bid for this book. I mean, that's really cool and I'm happy for the author, but often I'm not really a fan of those books. They're a bit like, well, pop music. If you think about pop music, sure, it's fun and you might enjoy bouncing around to it, but rarely does it really stick with you. That's why you've got those one-hit wonders. And sometimes they're memorable, but more often than not, they're just another song that might be played on the oldies station one day. Or not. Most artists don't want their creation to end up a forgotten oldie. They want their stories to make an impact, and I'm not saying that traditionally published authors can't do that. Many do. But the fact that they're giving up creative control can have a huge impact on the story that they wanted to tell. And if you're willing to give that up, go TradPub. If you're not, keep watching, because sticking to indie, it'll be good for you. Cover art and title. Did you spend hours and hours, maybe weeks or months while you were working on the story thinking of the perfect title that fits your book, and you can't imagine any other title for that book because it fits your vision? You are so proud of it. Well, I hope you're not too attached, because if you sign a contract with a publisher, you're likely going to have to give that up. They may not agree with your idea for the title. You might think a different title is more marketable. They might come up with a cover that you absolutely hate, along with that title, which doesn't sound like your book at all anymore. Yeah, that's not going to change. When you sign that contract, that was part of it. That was part of what you agreed that they could do. And yeah, sometimes it works out. You know, when you look at a bookshelf in a bookstore, you might look at all those covers and all those titles and be like, alright, that doesn't look too bad. When you're the author, giving up the ability to say, that's not what I want, can be rough. If you're willing to give that up, then maybe TradPub will work for you. If you're not, go indie. Sales. Have you ever seen how indie authors, and you should be paying attention to indie authors if you're interested in this one way or another. Indie authors will often decide, hey, you know what? It's National Friends Day. So I'm going to be friendly and put 50% off my books. Just because. And they'll be all excited and they'll be sharing this. Well, TradPub authors do not have liberty to be able to do things like that. The only sales that they're going to be having are the ones that their publisher reorganizes, which in a way is cool. And this I'm not going to bash too much. I mean, I'm not really bashing anything if we're going to be, okay, never mind. If you want to give somebody else the responsibilities for things like that, then yeah, it's going to sound good. Giving them the responsibilities is giving up some of the control, and to some that may be appealing. But if you're thinking that going with a publisher means you don't have to do anything other than write the book, oh honey, I've got a little something to tell you. Unless you're the publisher's sweetheart, yeah, your work's not done. They're not going to put a huge marketing budget on you. They're not going to make sure that you're this eye level on the shelf with your books face side out and a big sign over them saying, look, new release. They do that for their favorites. And the majority of people are not going to be their favorites. It's awesome getting a contract. It's awesome getting that advance. The advance that you have to pay back. But having a TradPub isn't a magical journey to the bestsellers list. It does give you certain advantages. It also will cost you. And I mean a lot. Most mid-list indie authors make enough to make a living off of their writing. Traditionally published authors that are mid-list, not necessarily. You have to figure that for every book sold, they're only making maybe 8 to 15% of each book. Whereas as an indie author, you are keeping 70 to 80%. Now, there's always middle ground. I would suggest for a lot of new authors, especially if you're not willing to put in the work to learn everything there is about indie publishing, or you're nervous about it, start with a small publisher. Small publishers will give you support. They will usually do a bit more promoting you, helping you grow as an author. You have to do a lot of research before you sign with a small publisher because there have been horror stories. But on a whole, if you do your homework, you will usually talk to some authors that are with the publisher and absolutely love the work that's been done for them, and then you can see if they're a good fit for you. But personally, if you're leaning towards self-pub and you've been querying your book and you're kind of discouraged because it doesn't seem like anyone is ever going to pick it up, well, you don't have to wait for anyone to pick it up. You can do it yourself. And you probably should. Now I'm going to tell you how. So now I'm going to give you 5 ways to make your best start as an indie author. Don't publish your book right away. Did I mention don't publish your book right away? You really shouldn't publish your book right away. I'm going to tell you what to do first. First, join a writer's group. There are so many amazing writers groups out there. Along with learning how to become a better author, you are going to be connecting with other authors either at your level or maybe a bit ahead of you. Maybe authors that just like the connection, they like working with new authors, they like helping other authors grow. I used to do this for a while and I absolutely loved it. Basically, you'll take turns reading each other's work, giving tips, advice, feedback, and they'll do the same for you. And the more you work at this, the more you'll find your little crutches, you'll find your little strengths and weaknesses, and learn to develop yourself as an author. And that is very, very important. Don't skip this step. Seriously. You want those connections, and you want your skills to grow, so that when you're ready to put your book out there, it's the best it can possibly be. It might take you a few weeks, a few months, maybe a few years. I did it for about 2 years before I published a single book, and it made me a hell of a lot better writer. Also, Number 2, if you want to get some work up there, you're like, oh my god, I have this amazing story that I wrote and I don't think it's ready to publish, but I really, really want to see what readers will think. There are tons and tons of fanfiction sites that you just post stories. If you're writing erotica, there's Literotica, which I actually wrote for a while, and it was tons of fun, and you have readers that go there just to pick up these stories that will read your story, leave comments, and let you know what they think. And that is a great way to prepare yourself for when you're dealing with readers who are paying for your work. You don't have to agree with them, but you're going to hear what they think of you as an author. And being prepared for that is always a good thing. Read lots and lots. Lots and lots. Read everything. Don't just read in your genre, but make sure you are reading a lot in your genre. You want to understand how other people are doing it, what they're doing, what you think you could do better, what kind of story you think you could tell, the pacing, the amount of passion, the amount of love scenes, the amount of action scenes, the level of horror, whatever it is that you're writing. You want to see where you fit and what other authors are doing that maybe you're going to want to apply to your own work. Even whether you look at a painting or you look at music, at some point every single artist emulated those that they're fans of, that they admire, and you should start by doing the same thing. You could even highlight certain sections, and I'm not saying obviously don't plagiarize, but highlight sections of your favorite author's work and mentally pick it apart. What is it that you like about that scene? Is it the wording? Is it the visuals? Is it the expressions, the characterizations? Find out what you love and see if you can apply that to your own work. But you won't be able to do any of this or learn or grow if you're not reading. Find time to read. And if you want to be an author, saying you don't have time probably isn't the best idea, because this job requires a lot of reading and not a lot of excuses. 4, write a book you're excited about. This has to be a book that you're willing to go to bat for, that you're willing to do anything to see it on a bookshelf, in a reader's hands. A book that you can say, yes, I'm charging for this because I worked my ass off and it's worth it. Write that book, and until you write that book, you're not ready. Yes, a lot of dregs get published every day, and it's easy to look at that and figure, I'm better than that. Okay. You're not competing with anybody else. You're competing with yourself. And when you hit the starting point, do you think you're ready? It doesn't matter if anyone else thinks you're ready. You have to know. And this comes with a lot of experience. This comes with being willing to learn. And this comes with being very, very passionate about what you're doing. Are you passionate enough? I don't know. Prove it. And last but not least, build your online presence. Just because you don't have a book out yet doesn't mean people aren't interested in seeing how you're going to develop as an author. As you're writing in these fanfiction sites or these places like Literotica, people are going to be curious about what you're doing. It could start with friends and family, but then expand. Make sure your posts are public. Share little pieces of your works. Share your excitement for the journey. And you're going to start attracting more and more people. People are attracted to success. People are attracted to passion. So make sure that you share tons of that. And then before you even have your book out, you're going to have a lot of people cheering you on and excited to grab that first book. If you're silent until that book drops, I guarantee you're going to be very, very disappointed in your sales. You haven't connected with anybody. It's a fact that when people connect with an artist, they want their work that much more. It's that important to connect with your readers or your potential readers. So build your online presence so that you have somewhere to start, so that you have readers that are ready and eager to pick up your first book. Now for the fun part. But my books aren't going to be in bookstores. They could be. If you were with TradPub, your books might end up on the shelves. And if they don't sell within a certain amount of times, the covers will be ripped off and they'll be thrown in the garbage. Yeah, I'm fine not being with shelves. I'm fine being my print books being sold online so that people who really want them can get them whenever. My book doesn't have a limited shelf life. That's part of being indie. Yes, things have changed a bit in the traditional publishing world. A lot of them do have ways to buy the books online. But then again, we're talking about online. Pretty much equal there. You're not on bookshelves either way. Sometimes, if you contact local bookstores, they'll carry your book. Again, it's you making a bit of an effort for a book that you're passionate about. What about libraries? Yes, I have books in libraries. I am always excited when I hear that readers have requested my books and a library has picked them up. It's another thing that's available to indies as equally as it is to publishers. Publishers might have a bit more pull, but things are changing. And more indie authors are ending up on the shelves of libraries right next to the TradPub. When you look at the books, you can't tell the difference. Neither can the readers. Not if you've done your job. But I have to do all the work. I think we discussed this already. You're gonna have to do that work anyway, sweetie. And it's hard work. This is not an easy business. Not if you're TradPub, not if you're indie. So if you're expecting an easy ride, maybe don't become an author. If you're expecting a rewarding journey where you're connecting with people who love books and who are gonna love what you're making, keep going. I believe that there are tons of amazing voices out there. There are tons of writers just waiting for a chance. Many of us have spent years and years and years sending out query letters, trying to catch an agent, trying to get a publisher to take notice. And our book is just sitting there, and a lot of people, rather than developing their skills, rather than trying to consider other venues, they either give up or they just sit back and writing wastes away. It might end up in a drawer or in a fireplace and never be seen. And that's one of the things that I love about indie publishing, is because there are less books ending up stuffed in some drawer somewhere to gather dust. There are amazing stories getting published every day. Yes, there are crappy ones, but you're going to do the work to make sure that your book isn't one of them. You're going to do the work to make sure that that amazing story is being seen by the right people, because it's worth it. It has to be worth it to you first. It doesn't matter whether you end up with that great big contract. It doesn't matter if you spend tons of money on editing and on your cover and spend years and years learning about the craft. You are going to do whatever it takes to share your story, and you should. And indie publishing is definitely one way to do it. I hope you found this video helpful. I am probably going to be doing more videos like this in the future on writing and self-publishing. So let me know in the comments down below whether that's something that would interest you, and if you found this helpful, any other questions that you have that maybe I can address in a future video. And also, I am going to, since I didn't have a whole bunch of books that I was mentioning in this video, I'm going to go back to mentioning what I'm reading now. And right now, it is Finish Line by Cambria Hibbert. I hope I'm saying that name right. I have actually been reading all of the Gearshark books for a bit, and I didn't even know there was another one. This is a short one that brings you back to some of the characters in the other books and lets you know what they're doing now, which I find really cool. I always love it when authors give you a glance at, you know, the future of the characters, and a few authors do that, and I really, really appreciate it. So if you're an author watching this, do that. Do that. If you give us characters that we love, we never get enough of them. Also, if you like these videos that I'm doing, or you're a fan of my work, consider checking out either one, my merch, like this hoodie, or this tank top. This is Cobra stuff, so if you guys are fans of the Cobras, they must-haves. Also, below I have a link to buy me a coffee, which doesn't cost much but helps a lot. So if anyone's interested, pop down there and, you know, help me grab a cup of coffee because I really, really need it. I've been doing tons and tons of writing plus these videos and I'm loving every minute, but it requires a lot of coffee. So if you want to pitch in, it would be much appreciated. Also, I have some other helpful links to my free books down below and to all my social media. So if you want to hook up. Wait, why does everything I say end up sounding dirty? I don't understand. I'm not doing it intentionally, I swear. Anyway, so if you want to connect with me, all the links are down there. And oh, forgetting something. Oh yeah. Like, subscribe, ring that little bell, and I will see you Thursday. Bye-bye.
Yeah.